Hello and welcome to the First Click Inc. podcast, where we talk about what works with SEO, SEM, and social media marketing. I'm Chase Reiner, and today we're joined again with Eren Mckay from Mckay Social.
Yes. Hi, everybody. MckaySocial.com.
And what we're going to talk about today is duplicate content and how to repurpose content and how to not get in trouble with duplicate content. So we're going to kick it off by kind of letting Eren explain her views and thoughts on this, and then we're going to go into a discussion about it.
Yes, this is a topic that I'm pretty passionate about because a lot of people have no idea about how having duplicate content on your site can give you issues. I'm not going to say that there is no such thing as a duplicate content penalty. Google has said that. So let's not use the word penalty, but let's say problems, right?
Yeah.
Because the Panda algorithm is all about duplicate content. And if you look at the search quality guidelines that Google came out with in their webmaster blog, and you read their it's about 160 pages. But if you do a Control F search in that PDF document, they talk a lot about duplicate content and how they don't want that. So basically, the search engines don't want to be serving up the exact same content on different websites or on your website. And a lot of people say, well, that's solvable. All you have to do is just do a rel canonical wherever that is. So let's talk about it on your own website. On your own website, if you have the practically same content in two different URL structures, you've got to either rel canonical that URL to the other one so that Google knows which one's the most important, or you have to do a 301 redirect where that URL will permanently redirect to the new URL that you want indexed and that you want ranking.
Unless that content has a purpose and you don't want it to redirect, right? So if you have,
then you do the rel canonical.
So like if you have 4 different dresses but with the same description but different colors, you would want to point to the you'd want to rel canonical to the main dress you want to rank for. So if it's the blue dress, then you would point all the canonicals at that dress, so you wouldn't have 4 of the same descriptions for each dress, unless you could make them different.
Yeah, I would, in that case, since there's a blue, a pink, a yellow dress, I wouldn't rel canonical in that case personally. I mean, you can disagree with me on this, but I would make unique meta descriptions, unique on-page descriptions for each one because they are different. So
I'm just saying if the only thing that's different is the color,
right.
Unless there are actual queries for that color, then you're going to want to make it different. But I'm saying if it's the exact same type of dress, but there's different pages, you're not going to want that dress with the same description on 4 different pages, right?
Oh,
like ranking in the search engine.
Yeah, always make unique descriptions. I know it's very exhausting to do SEO copywriting, especially if you're an e-commerce site. I've done it many times, and it is absolutely exhausting because you have to, there's only so many ways you can say high quality material, right? The best quality material. So it gets boring to do SEO copywriting. It's a part of my my work that I'm not really joyful about. I love keyword research. I love competitive analysis. I love creating the title tag, even the meta description, because it's only going to be 160 characters anyways. That's going to show up in the search engine results pages. You can make a meta description longer, but only 160 characters will show up. So I don't recommend using more than 160. First of all, it's a waste of your time. And second of all, you just want to make a great call to action and want it clickable. But the thing is about the rel canonical is, let's say a person is shopping by a brand, right? Then if they're shopping by brand, then they may have the exact same products on a certain brand that they have on a different category. And so in that case, you might want to, or if you're shopping by style or by material, and you look, it's the exact same products. They're just underneath different. So it's a good UX experience, user experience, to have the different ways of shopping. But if it's exact match duplicate content, you have got to do a rel canonical.
Or
now,
a redirect.
the redirect happens when you don't even want the person to land on that page, right? So this is duplicate content on the website itself. But when you read the Google Plus, the Google Plus, sorry, my brain's all over the place. When you read the Google search quality guidelines that they came out with in November, and I can give you guys a link to that in the description of the podcast. And I highly recommend you read the 160 pages, even if it's like 15 pages a day. Read the whole thing so you understand what Google is looking for. Then you'll start to understand that Google just really does not want duplicate content everywhere. I've heard Matt Cutts and other people that are Googlers talk about content farms, where basically they're syndicating duplicate content just to like fill their website with content, but it's the same content that's everywhere. So like I said, there's no such thing as a penalty, but let's stop and think, all right? If you search for Panda algorithm Panda update duplicate content, if you do a search, you're going to find a lot of websites, and I've talked to SEOs that do SEO for a bunch of companies that have gotten issues because their content was syndicated on 40 to 50 different websites. And so they have had problems with that, their quality site score going down because it was syndicated on all these places. So what I would highly suggest doing is, if you're going to allow for the RSS feed to exist, don't let the RSS feed to be the full post. Make it just a snippet. That way you don't have the entire post being indexed and thrown all over the internet.
This actually just happened to us, Aaron. We were working with one of our clients, and they had all of their blog posts on their blog page that would link to their actual blog posts, but there was no rel canonical, so there was the whole blog post. Like, you could just keep scrolling and see all the different blog posts, and then the separate actual blog posts. And that's just not good. You need to either make sure that you're only showing a little bit of it and then going to the actual blog post, or somehow point a canonical, except that's kind of hard to do in that case, because there's 100 different results on that page. So if you do have a blog that is featuring a bunch of content that it's all the same as the other, is what you're going to see on the actual blog post, then you don't want to do that. You only want to feature like what Aaron was saying.
Right. And another problem that I've found with clients is they actually, when you have a website and you post a blog, make sure after the first paragraph, after the first 100 and some words, this isn't like a law, it has to be 100 words, but the first beginning snippet, put the read more, the more tag, the HTML more tag, because you don't want your homepage to have the full blog post, and then on the URL to have the full blog post, and then on the category to have the full blog post. There you go, duplicate content on 3 pages, the main page, and then 2 more pages have duplicate. And another problem that I find a lot on WordPress sites is they have these archives and categories. So now you have duplicates in the archives by year and by, 2016 January, 2015 December. So now you have duplicates in the archive section and in the category. There's really no need for the archive section if you have already correctly keyword researched and SEO'd the categories. Why would you have an archive page? Like, who searches by year? People are not going to go, oh yeah, let me go look at 2012. They want a certain topic.
I actually was the one who SEO'd for years. So like, for instance, in the very small cases like SEO, I would SEO for SEO 2016.
Oh yeah, but that's a specific blog post. It's not an archive that
Yeah.
has all of your posts of 2013, October 2013. That's not a good user experience because the person has no idea what you did in October of 2013. It's
Unless
better to go
unless
ahead.
all of the blog posts are about SEO in 2013, which is the case that Google actually ranked my actual blog because it was only about SEO in 2016. I made like 10 or 15 posts about it. But yeah, no,
Right.
you're
And that's
definitely
a
right.
very specific case,
Yeah.
but I'm talking, when you're not doing SEO in 2013,
Yeah.
unless you're doing a date thing, I would suggest just going with the categories. And if you already have great categories, I would suggest not putting tags because tags create duplicate content again. And you're going to get hit by the panda. I know SEOs from huge websites that got hit with panda because they had and I've seen websites that put like 30 tags on one post that doesn't even have 200 words.
You're talking
I
about
mean,
inside of WordPress, those little tags, right?
yes. And so I suggest just do the category and don't do the archives unless you have a specific reason. And even if you're going to do the categories and archives in the homepage, always make sure you have the more tag going on because you don't want the duplicate content to be on the page. And you'll see that in the Google search quality guidelines, they talk about, that being bad for the user to have that many duplicate content issues. But what is like your experience with clients, what has that been with duplicate content?
Like in terms of when I go in and see their website or just.
Yeah, like issues, cleaning up issues like that.
Well, like I said, there was that one big issue that we just encountered, and I mean, usually the problem isn't too much content, it's usually too little. So like most of the time, they'll just have like 5 pages and they won't even have duplicate content because they haven't even made enough content. Um,
Oh,
but it is interesting to think about like the tags that people use, and I'm actually wondering if there's any way to get around that to actually create the tags and then point canonicals towards the blog posts that are when they're in those actual categories.
that would be an
Or not
idea,
categories,
but
tags.
just to create the tags without the canonicals, I find that to be a problem.
Yeah.
Search Engine Watch came out with a blog post a while ago about actually not that long ago in January 12th, and it said Google integrates Panda into the core ranking algorithm, and it talks about how Panda is affecting. And also I found other articles talking about how syndicated content was giving issues to even high authority websites. So I would say if you're going to, this is my advice. I'm all for syndicating content. Okay. I think syndicated content is a great way to get your face and your name out there on all kinds of different platforms. But there's a caveat that I always tell my clients and I always tell everybody that I meet. It doesn't take that long. I mean, maybe it does take a while. Maybe it'll take you 3 to 4 hours to rewrite your blog post one time. Okay. But what I say is first publish it on your website. Make sure that it's indexed because you never know how long it takes to index. So you make sure that it indexed you can go ahead and grab the URL, put it in Google and see if it's indexed or not. Once it's indexed, you can also ping that URL if you're not on WordPress, which automatically there's a ping list on WordPress.com that you can put in the back end of your WordPress to ping so that the Google robot crawlers can go and see that you created new content. But not only make sure your content is indexed, but I wouldn't actually grab the exact content and syndicate it everywhere. Take the time to rewrite it one time.
This is what I do, Aaron. I actually will finish a post and I will, first thing I submit it to Google Webmaster Tools or Search Console now, and I'll fetch his URL usually. I won't, I'll fetch his URL, but I won't submit to, what is it? There's the regular submit to just submit, and then there's the submit with site links. I usually find that if
sitemap.
No. There's one where it's like, gosh, I forget what it's called.
Oh yeah, I get it. Submitting the actual website.
Yeah, you can submit just the post, and you can submit it with the things that it's linking to, but I forget what it's called. But anyways, I usually just submit the post by itself, and that usually ends up ranking in the search results faster. For some reason, I think because they have to crawl the links, it takes longer. I don't know if that's true or not, but I usually will be able to see it within like the first 5 minutes after I do this. But I'll do that, and then I'll also fetch his, I'll go into Bing Webmaster Tools, and I'll fetch his Bing bot, and then I'll go and share to like 6 or 7 different social media platforms. And then I can just type in site : the name of my website and then the query, and I'll usually be able to find the post pretty fast. And after you see that it's indexed,
you can also just copy the URL and just paste the URL, and it'll show you.
Yeah, you can do that too. But
that's faster.
I feel like more of a ninja when I do it.
I wanted to give tips to people because I don't want to just say, oh, here's the problem and not give you a solution. I'm solution based. I'm solution oriented. So what I think is a solution is this: you create really great content on your site. And so what I think you should do is go ahead and rewrite that content. Okay. Change the title, change the if you're giving 10 tips, don't put them in the same order and rewrite those tips. You can use a free software called WordWeb that is a downloadable dictionary that it stays on your tray. So you just highlight a word, you click on WordWeb, and it tells you all the other words, all the definitions that you could use. So that makes it easier for you to think of how can I rewrite this so it's unique. I definitely am against content spinners. Don't do that ever. So just literally sit down, rewrite the same blog post that you wrote. And what I would do is I wouldn't put everything you put on your main blog post on your website. I would make that like a pillar post that has over 1,000 words, has a whole bunch of tips, is like fantabulous. Then I would grab some of the best tips of those. Let's say if it has 13 tips, I would grab like 4 fantastic tips, rewrite them, and then you just have to rewrite it one time. Once you've gotten it rewritten, now you can go ahead and syndicate that content on all kinds of places. And I'm going to give you guys a list of places you can syndicate on. LinkedIn Pulse. You can actually write articles on Quora. You can write it again on Google+. You can make it into a PowerPoint presentation and submit it to Scripty, Slide World, Slide Bloom, SlideShare. You can make it into an ebook and submit it to Papyrus.story. Yes, you can also submit it to Facebook Notes. You can put it on your Facebook profile. And what I always say is this: you put those, make a fantabulous image. I mean, think fantabulous, use PicMonkey and all the stuff that we talked about in the other podcasts about Pinterest. We talked about all these free image tools. Make a really great image with the title, of your post, and submit it everywhere. And then say, if you want, okay.
Erin's pretty good at this too. She if you need help with this stuff, definitely check out Mckay Social, because she created one for our podcast and it was phenomenal.
Thank you. Yeah, and And if your picture's not great, I'll make you super fabulously looking. You'll look like a model when I'm done with you.
Or your money back.
Oh goodness. So what happens is once you've gotten all this content, this rewritten content, you then submit it everywhere, and then you say, look, I gave you 5 tips. If you want the rest of the tips, click here, and I have 13 tips over on my blog, and you'll find another 8 more tips on this blog post. So that way you're creating a call to action and a reason for them to click through to your website and want to read the rest of the blog post. And then let's not forget, once you got that traffic on your site, you have to, after every single blog post, create a call to action with a free offering, whether it's an e-course, an ebook with audio. If you're inside of another type of niche, like the Zen meditation, give them a meditation and an ebook. Make it a really nice packaging, make it beautiful on the page, and say, sign up to my blah, 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 and get your free kit of this and that, ebook, recording, meditation, whatever, and have that call to action in the middle of the post. And like at the side of the post, so here's the content, here's a little sign up box at the side, and also at the end of each post, so that people that you got all this traffic to, they're actually going to get onto your newsletter. And then here comes newsletter marketing to build the know, like, and trust factor. And the other thing I would say is always have other related articles to very nichified to what you just told. If you just taught them 13 tips, have another article that's going to give them, something that is related to what you just taught them. And that way they're going to stay on your site longer.
And this actually has a name. It's called content upgrades. And people actually, I think there's a study that shows that people are actually more likely to share a post that has a content upgrade in it because it offers something more to their audience than just a blog post.
Yes. I would also highly recommend, if you have a little bit more time, going into Canva, and there's also infographic creators, and you can repurpose that content into an infographic and then submit it to all these places that and make sure it's high quality places. It's even better if you follow the link back to you, because you don't want to be seen as just backlink building for trying to manipulate the search rankings. So if it's not a high quality place, follow that link if possible back to your website, because you're just trying to get the traffic. And so the article can be repurposed into an infographic, and then it can be repurposed into a video. And from that video, you can upload it to YouTube, Vimeo, Vidler, all kinds of different places. And then you can use something like keepvid.com and just grab the audio from that, make it a better audio through there's all kinds of podcasting software that you can make it louder, because if it's too low, people will not listen to it. Make it into an audio and then repurpose it on iTunes, Podbean, that we're on right now, Stitcher. Well, we're not on it, but we're going to be on it.
Yeah.
Mira. And so there's all these places, and here you are, all over the internet with just one article that you wrote. Of course, it takes time to do all this repurposing, but guess what? Your face is going to be everywhere. Well, that's good.
And
Go ahead.
I think this is a lot to take in for some of the viewers. I mean, I'm sure that you and I, it sounds probably pretty normal, but I think the main point to take away from this, and we actually got to wrap this up pretty fast here, but is that you should share through these different techniques that Eren's mentioning, but what really is going to happen is you're going to be able to find out what really works for you. And even though you're probably not going to be sharing maybe through all these different things at once, if you do share through most of these techniques, you're eventually going to figure out what's really going to work for you and where your audience resonates with your content, either through YouTube or maybe through a social media site or through podcasting, all those sorts of things. But you're never going to find out if you don't try these things out.
And yeah, I forgot to mention Medium. Also, Medium is huge. And also remember this, okay? Sometimes people are on these websites like LinkedIn or Quora or Medium or SlideShare, and they search within those places, especially YouTube, which is the second largest search engine right now, is actually YouTube. So if you have the right titles and stuff, you're going to get found somewhere, and people are going to get to know you in one of these places. So it's all about having that visibility, and everything that I'm telling you right now doesn't cost you money. It costs you time and work. So if you're lazy, this might not work. But I hope you're not lazy if you're listening to this podcast. Hello? I lost your audio, by the way, Chase. We lost your audio. Can't hear you.
Oh.
Yeah.
I was going to say a lot of things won't work if you're lazy.
Nothing works if you're lazy. The only thing that works is watching television and getting fat, right?
Yep.
So getting overweight. I'm sorry. I don't want to offend anybody with the word fat. But yeah.
Well, these were some really great tips today, Eren, and I want to thank you for sharing your knowledge. And I'm sure they're going to want to hear more about what you do, and they can either visit your website at Eren Mckay, MckaySocial.com, and that's, how do you spell it again, Eren?
Mckay Social is MCKAY social.com, and you can tweet me if you need any kind of SEO training. I do one-on-one on Skype, or any other help with your website. I'm here.
And then also, if you want to hear some of our previous podcasts, we talk a lot about socials. So make sure to check those out and leave us a review on the iTunes store if you can.
Yeah. Bye,
all right. Thank you guys for listening.